All right, in this quick video, I want to show a long setup for ZRX and explain why I'm bullish on ZRX and how I'm looking at it. This is not any desire or attempt to get anyone else to FOMO into this particular coin or whatever. I'm just showing you how I'm looking at it. First of all, back here we had our low that it tapped almost to the Satoshi in terms of the low, and then we set our first higher low here, and now on a daily level a new higher low. This is going to look a lot like when I was talking about Bitcoin. I'm trying to keep it simple here. I'm trying to look at the 200-day moving average. It has not really spent a lot of time above the 200-day. It did have a fake out that it broke down from back here. This was not a bad place to long either. I was watching it back then. I did not trade that. Your stop would have been to get out when it started breaking that pattern, and then it started to form the wedge. Now, it could have gone and made new lows from here. So the fact that we're seeing this relative strength now, turning this into a falling wedge of sorts, and then pushing back above the 200-day and pushing above this diagonal. Those things in combination, alongside some relative altcoin strength in the market, are the biggest reasons on a daily basis why I'm bullish. Also, look, 3 days in a row here of significant volume. This third day is going to look like it's going to be more volume than the previous two, with buying strength, and it looks to me like we're going to make a run at least for 3,500, and my broader target would be around 6K Satoshis, which is over a double from here. So what do I see here more than anything is a risk-reward scenario that is attractive to me. So in terms of where do I set my stop, I think the easiest place is to say it's below the 200-day moving average, and I want to just identify what's this trade potential look like. Long term, over 100%. Short term, it would be to get back to this horizontal level from back here, or this kind of the center point of this congestion, this pattern back here. So if you want to call that 25%, 20%, something like that, and a tight stop would be 5 or 6%. And you still have a nice trade there. New lows would probably make more sense. It kind of depends on what you're willing to hold for on the top end of this. I like this 3,500 target, but really, for the way I'm looking at this trade, I want to hold long enough to take advantage of serious movement here, which is also going to cause me to move my stop to be looser, to where really if it makes new lows, then I think it'll go and capture the bottom of that range. So I'm looking at a potential 20% downside, but over 100% upside. Really nice risk and return. It's going to take a little time, digging through a lot of stuff here, but with relative strength in the market, that's the way that I like setting up for this trade. There's a couple of ways that you could look at this that it is not as bullish. However, I really like the follow through volume. Also like that it made that higher high, etc. The wedge component, it's nice if you can break a diagonal or something like that. Above 2960, you could make a case, for the higher high, which it hasn't. It's made a higher low, but it hasn't really made a good higher high. So that's what we'd see here, is hopefully some kind of higher high and another bounce for another higher low, etc. See that stair step up. Now, if you're looking for what's the case against, I'm showing a 20 and 200 moving average strategy as being my primary drivers. However, I do watch the cloud a good bit too, and the cloud is bearish to indeterminate. Looks like a bearish retest. But to me, the other elements overrode this for me. It just seems like the cloud is confused after this initial pump, and then this grind down, and then now for a couple of months of sideways, the cloud's just not very happy. On the weekly basis, you could make an argument, in my opinion, that the cloud is saying this needs a retest. Another thing I like on the weekly is this potential Adam and Eve double bottom. So from here, and then a lower bottom here that supports our target, or one of our targets here, to make a, come back up to this neckline of the Adam and Eve, and then consolidate around there before I move up into that weekly cloud, Keynesian, all that stuff up there from where it really broke down from back here. If we go full bull, you could hold out Moonbag for further, but I'm not really looking at all that. I'm looking at how can this trade work out into the 6K Satoshi range. Really like this look overall. ZRX has always been one of my favorites to trade, and in an effort to not get too complicated, not overthink it, I liked sticking with standard strategies that I follow and know well. That's why I'm sticking with this 200-day moving average, 20-day moving average, break above, break the pattern. This is one where the risk reward works out for me, and I just wanted to explain it to anyone else. There's a lot of altcoins that might look this way and that you could go after. So if you're trying to determine between one and another, I would try to consider what are some of the fundamental components. Are they things that you personally believe in or like? And then the other thing, this is another weakness potentially of this trade, is how do they represent in terms of a volume leader? This has decent volume relative to itself, but relative to the rest of the market, ZRX doesn't have a ton of volume yet. It does have pretty good overall liquidity because it's widely traded. It's on most of the major exchanges now, but it doesn't have like mega volume like some of the large caps do. So this is kind of your classic mid cap with some upside, decent volume, but it's not overly liquid or overly high volume or anything. The liquidity is pretty good. The depth, given that you can buy it in so many locations and whatnot, is pretty good. But the overall, strength of the volume is not great. However, I like this trade. It looks good to me for some upside, so I'm in. Just wanted to explain how I was thinking about it. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if you like it. Subscribe, all that stuff, whatever. Listen to our podcast. Go to ledgerstatus.com, blah, blah, blah. Bye-bye.